Good morning. It's my great pleasure to welcome you here to Sunday mornings at Mountain Vista UU. I always stop and take a second to make sure my phone is turned off. I highly recommend you do the same. And I just wanted to say a special welcome and good morning today on this lovely and wonderful to celebrate Labor Day weekend.
Good morning. Welcome to everyone at Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist Congregation, where we love and care for the Sonoran Desert and thank the O'odham and Yaqui people as we respect their traditions and work towards developing a deeper relationship with them. We also share our immediate neighborhood with the Flowing Well School District. Perhaps, just perhaps, during the blessing of backpacks today, we'll bless some backpacks that will spend their school days this year at Laguna or Hendricks Elementaries in our neighborhood. And maybe, at some future date, we might hear about some adventures those backpacks actually had. My name is Maria Manconi, and I'm one of the pastoral associates helping with today's service. Today's service is led by our settled minister, Reverend Matthew Funqueri, and supported by MVUU staff, including Chris, our music director, Stacy, our religious education coordinator, Tay, our engagement coordinator, and Stephanie, our administrator. Excuse me. Our professional staff provides the structure needed to do all that we do in Mountain Vista. In addition, thank you to the many volunteers that contribute each week. Our AV crew, which today includes Lee, Todd, Vince, Alex, and Robin. Did I get them all? I got them all. Got Robin. Joel Yellen, our song leader. Cheryl from our pastoral care committee. And volunteers for greeting, hospitality, and volunteers in RE taking care of the children. In musical moments today, we will also hear from UU Forks, made up of musical members of our congregation, Debbie Roberts, Charlie Luque, and Dan Ovid. Everyone who contributes their work and care to our congregation makes today's service possible. Our services are not just attended by those of you here in person, as you know, but also virtually. Some will be watching this in real time, and others will watch at a later time. If you can, please turn around and give a wave to all our colleagues attending virtually. Today's service marks the beginning of the Baja 4's Desert Ritual Year. The theme this year is World Religions, and today we will begin with Unitarian Universalism. This week, we'll focus on our Unitarian Universalist All in Faith, specifically an upcoming project, UUAF, Unitarian Universalist in Faith. It's a mouthful. This is a statewide and Las Vegas program to bring UUs together to make meaning. The curriculum for this program recognizes that Unitarian Universalism offers a theology with deep roots that also allows individuals room to explore and make choices. It understands that human faith development happens together in the context of a faith community. It is intentionally multi-generational. It supports the kind of shared learning that can transform UUs, their congregation, and their work in the world. To conclude our welcome this morning, I'd like to share a reading entitled, "We Are Glad You Are Here," by Reverend Amanda Schuper, minister for High Street Unitarian Universalist Church in Macon, Georgia. If this is your first time here or your 101st time here, we are glad you're here. If you carry the weight of a weary world on your shoulders, or you entered through the doors with a song in your heart and a skip in your step, we're glad you're here. If you are the loudest voice in the town square, or the subtle hand behind the scenes, we are glad you're here. If you have failed once or failed 1,000 times, we're glad you're here. If you sing like angels or mumble behind the hymnal, we are glad you're here. This community is what it is because of your presence. So welcome. Welcome into the space of love, support, justice, compassion, fellowship, and worship. We are glad you're here. For our chalice lighting today, this is "We Meet on Holy Ground" by Reverend Richard Gilbert. We meet on holy ground, for that place is holy where lives touch, love moves, hope stirs. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into the communal story, as we take on the pride and pain of our companions, as separate selves become community. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbors, our invitations to share life and death together, our welcome into the lives of those we meet, and their welcome into our own. May our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our meeting in this time and in this space, for we meet on holy ground.
I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that historically the 19th century and the early 20th century were difficult times for workers. Particularly though for women, the history is sadly too well documented. Fires like the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in New York that killed dozens of women. And working conditions for everybody was just terrible. In a speech in 1910, Helen Todd said, "Not at once, but women is the mothering element in the world, and her vote will go toward helping forward the time when life's bread, which is home, shelter, and security, and the roses of life, music, education, nature, and books, shall be the heritage of every child that is born in the country and in the government of which she has a voice." And that phrase, bread and roses, went on to be picked up and turned into a beautiful poem by James Oppenheim, set to music by Carolyn Colsatt a few years later, also famously set to music again in the 1970s by Mimi Farinha, and many of you have heard this same text sung by Joan Baez and many, many others in the time. And I'd like to invite you to join us in singing it as we come marching, marching. It's hit number 109 in the gray hymnal if you have one handy, and they're always on the shelf out there if you'd like to grab one on your way in. Number 109, "As We Come Marching, Marching," also known as "Bread and Roses." Stand and sing with us if you would, please.
that a sudden sun discloses, for the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we battle to for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our lives shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread and give us roses. As we come marching, marching, until men and the dead go crying through our singing their ancient song of bread. Small art and love and beauty, ten drudging spirits new. Yes, it is bread we fight for, but we fight for roses too. As we come marching, marching, we bring the greater days, the rising of the women means the rising of the race. Noah, the drudge and idler, tent royal where one reposes, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses.
Today in our service, we are experiencing learning from two perspectives. Blessing backpacks for students, both younger and older, who are beginning a year of formal learning. And hearing together about a way we can deepen our learning about our faith. Both of these are rare and wonderful opportunities for us to demonstrate what we know is true. We are better together. At this time of new beginnings, this is a reading called On the Brink of a New Year by Lois Van Leer. We honor this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention.
I would like to invite our children to come forward, if you would, and bring your families as well. We'd like to have you come up here to share in the blessing of the backpacks. As they come up, I'd also like to invite any of you adults who are beginning a new course. You might be continuing education. You might be fulfilling a degree. I want to invite you all to come up and then turn around. Step right up here. Step right up here. Yeah. And then take a look back at, this is your congregation. This is your congregation. Because public, private, homeschooled, or grade school and vocation, collegiate learners, all that you learn, all that you feel, all that you do in this coming year of education, we want you to know that we go with you. We go with you with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. That's something you all have taught me. Would you show me again? It's open minds, helping hands, and the loving hearts. Thank you. And so this is a symbolic backpack, because you all didn't bring yours, which is absolutely fine. And it's also a symbolic backpack for all the children that we have purchased backpacks for. We've been collecting over the last month for the local elementary schools. And so we have several backpacks. We have filled them with supplies, and they are already in the hands of the children at Laguna and Hendricks Elementaries. We hope that your backpacks or your laptops, that your pencils or pens or whatever it is that you are using to do your learning this year, that means that you can receive knowledge and grow in wisdom and discover meaning in your individual lives. And this goes for all of you out there who are continuing your education as well. Who knows where this year might take you? What challenges you might face, what trials you may endure, but wherever you're going, take our congregation with you. Because, as you have taught me, we are the church of the open mind, the helping hands, and the loving hearts. We're here in love and support, and we want to witness as you become the best, most beautiful you can be. And so we're going to give you something. We hope you will take one of these. It is a keychain fob with a little message on it. And you would take this and then clip it onto your backpack, or all of you. You can come up and get one later. If you're continuing your education, you can clip it onto any bag that you're using, anything with a message from our congregation. So if you all just pass that down, take one out. Everyone can take one. Please do. These are just simple messages to remind you first that you are a blessing. And then to remind you always that no matter where you go as you learn, your secular faith community goes with you. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different messages, so take a moment, pick a good one. Yeah, please. Okay, I'll take it back. No, that's fine. And we'll just put it right up here. Did you want one too? Yeah, I thought you might. To say it again, you are already a blessing, and we go with you wherever your learning takes you. Know that we are there. Thank you so much. And now you can return to your class. Thanks for allowing us to interrupt you. And we'll see you all during refreshments and fellowship. I invite you now to a time of meditation, of pausing, turning off your phones, of breathing and being in that busyness business of our lives. I invite you to breathe with me slowly in, and then, if you can, a little more slowly out as your body allows. Breathe in rest. Breathe in awareness. Breathe in meaning. Breathe in, and breathe in all you know of dignity, the place where you exist, the space you possess. You. There is a meaning in your dignity that only you know. Rest in your dignity. Breathe in all you know of community. The people that are surrounding you now, your friends and your family, the many that hold and enfold you into their lives that only you know. There is meaning in community. Rest in that meaning. Breathe in all of your ancestry, the lineage of blood of chosen ancestors that flow like a river into you and through you into our future. You mean something within this flow that only you know. So rest in your ancestry. Rest in meaning that comes through you, that moves here alongside you, that is you. You in this world. In all of the business of our living. Hold on to that meaning. Hold on to your purpose. This is your life. Because you are a blessing. You are a blessing. You are a blessing, and we go with you. We gather to know and to be known. And that business of our living makes it kind of hard at times. And so we as a congregation pause in a weekly ritual to name our joys and sorrows as among us, just as one means to know and to be known. And to invite one another into our lives to respond with celebration and with comfort. Another means is our bi-monthly ritual where you come forward yourselves and take a microphone and speak your joys and sorrows, and we'll observe that ritual later this month on the third Sunday. But both rituals share the pouring out of water. Water that we have collected from Sonoran skies, from our homes, from our travels. Got a little dust mixed in with it. And both rituals share the dropping in of stones, a single stone for a sorrow, a single stone for a joy. and then we embrace them as a congregation. And we always then add stones for what is unspoken within and among and beyond us, those unnamed joys that are in our hearts, between family and friends, joy that we find in our broader society and in our world. And we hold among us sorrows, held silently but never alone, and we add stones for those as well. We don't live at the peak of joy, or do we live in the trough of sorrow? And so we add a final handful for all that is going on in our lives in between. Thank you. Leading us as a congregation in response to what we know and what we feel is here among us is our pastoral care committee. Together we listen. We are willing to go with you into whatever joy or sorrow that you are feeling, but also into everything in between. And we bring with us this secular faith community. And we do that so that you will know together celebration and comfort. So if you let the pastoral care committee know what is happening with you, and then let us know if you'd like us to name that, wish that it be spoken on a Sunday, we will do that for you. But regardless, with these symbols, we always call one another, we call ourselves to respond to all the joy, all the sorrow, and everything in between as a community of care. May it be so, because we live as a community of care.
It's my great pleasure to welcome up Debbie, Dan, and Charlie with a beautiful song from the group Mamous, We Shall Be Known.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. You can all join us if you know the words. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. In this great turning we shall learn to live in love. the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now, it is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I won't play with it, I promise. Ponder for a moment this question. When was the last time that you found something so meaningful you just had to tell someone? Some epiphany maybe bubbling up, or someone else's actions that just so dramatically caught your attention, or something just so amazing, a piece of music or art or poetry. You just couldn't keep it to yourself. It happens, even if it hasn't happened to you recently. It happens if my experience as a Unitarian Universalist minister for the last 25 years is any proof. In fact, what my experience tells me is that it happens all the time. And yet I've also witnessed that what is meaningful to one person, something so amazing it must be shared, it often doesn't connect or have meaning for another. One of the most profound instances of meaning for me came from this, the source book of Indian philosophy. I picked it up when I was 19 years old. I was privileged to have a family that supported a college education, and so I had left Tucson to attend a small liberal arts school in Minnesota, right down the way from you all. Yeah. I arrived there with a passion for religious studies. Not so much for the academic pursuit of knowledge, but because I really wanted to know what was true for me. Taking this required survey course, South and Southeast Asian religions, I learned in a much too broad introduction about Hinduism and Taoism and Confucianism and Buddhism and Jainism and Shintoism. And that's where I picked up the source book of Indian philosophy. The book's description is on the cover, and it sums up its 648 pages and the purpose of the course. The leading Indian philosopher-statesman and an American scholar bring together enough of the philosophical wisdom of the ancient and modern India to enable the student of Indian philosophy, who is not a Sanskrit scholar, to become truly acquainted with India's great and lasting contribution to the world of thought. Yeah, it's right there on the cover. All that it claims is right here. Of course, what it does not claim is to inspire meaning. But that's what it did for me. I remember very clearly it was a late autumn evening at the campus library, and I found a quiet space away from my roommate and friends to settle in and to just begin to crack open the source book. As sunset on those golden and orange trees began to fade, the lights of the library illuminated the first yellow pages of the book. I was only paying half attention until I came to this passage. the real, which is at the heart of the universe, is reflected in the infinite depths of the self. Brahman is Atman. Right there. And it was with such clarity it took my breath away until I just jumped up and then I started running around and showing it to my Atman is Brahman. Brahman is Atman, right? Right? And they responded as kindly as you all have, smiling and nodding. Atman is Brahman, Brahman is Atman. It made such sense to me. The kindest of all was my roommate, Ben, and he listened as I slowly read him more of the passage. Atman is the ultimate discovered introspectively. Brahman is the ultimate discovered objectively. He listened so well, but it had no meaning for him at all. And with these words, I began to understand non-duality, which was the meaning that was really overflowing at the center of my life. Non-duality can be found in all religious traditions. It is an understanding that all that is real, all that's true, can be known both through our individual experience and through universal existence simultaneously. It's like a Venn diagram where the circles are totally overlapping. Now, in Hinduism, the little s self is Atman, me, or each of you. That's one of those circles. And the big S, self, is Brahman, the divine of all that is and ever was and ever will be. Another circle laid right over the top of it, because we're both. It makes perfect sense, right? And you're nodding very kindly. It's the wonderful diversity of the world. There is a unity, and the unity is the diversity. And it's fine that you don't get it. It's really okay. Because if the meaning isn't clear, if non-duality isn't at your core, well, then you begin to understand both those times when you have found something profoundly meaningful and those times when no one gets it. Finding meaning that echoes who you are deeply, what you know in your heart and bones to be real, it's both a freedom and a burden. All those personal epiphanies and dreams, others' actions or passions touching you deeply, a reading or piece of art or music or even nature, whatever it is that crystallizes you that is fundamentally true, that can release you. That can free your soul. And yet, finding that meaning can be a lonely place, because so often it's near impossible to share it. First, it's just hard to get that meaning out, to find the words that actually express it accurately. Then it can be hard just to share that, to find someone for whom those words make as much sense. And finally, it's just hard to connect this meaning, that Venn diagram. Atman is Brahman, Brahman is Atman, in the world, in the busyness that we live in. Now, I know Atman is Brahman and Brahman is Atman, and a few of you may know that as well. And yet, understanding that I hold this meaning, that it's valuable to me, that has meaning for us in its own way. Because you begin to know what guides my understanding of myself and the world around me. You understand what informs me. That in these pages it says, see with the universal eye. Hear with the cosmic ear. And that helps you begin to understand me. It doesn't help you understand necessarily what your meaning is. And that that's okay too. You may not understand that relationship between Atman and Brahman, but you glimpse what leads me in my relationship as a husband and a father and a friend. You're clued into why I seek out diversity and equity and justice in the world. This is the meaning of my shared ministry with you all. You become aware of what's real for me, and you know why I welcome all of the meanings that are real for you. I've seen how meaning arises from the sources for you, different sources, different relationships, and how it motivates your actions. And even though I may not understand, hold the same meaning. This is how we come to know each other. And that in itself is meaningful. With all of the obstacles of sharing meeting and the distractions of the busyness of our lives, this awareness, this understanding, this knowledge of one another, it doesn't just happen on its own. Oh, it would be lovely if it did, wouldn't it? If we just were sharing meaning all the time and coming to know each other. But it doesn't just happen on its own. And so the good news is that what we do as Unitarian Universalists, what we are known for, is sharing meaning. We don't wait for all the obstacles to be rolled away in order to name what is meaningful for ourselves, to share it with each other, and then to begin to create even more meaning together. We don't wait. We choose to make it happen now. Creating Theology Together is an opportunity for all of you who can't wait. All of you who want to make meaning within, among, and beyond Unitarian Universalists. It's a program that our Arizona religious professionals have been working on for 6 months. They have taken a curriculum from one of our seminaries and with their permission broadened it to all of our congregations in Arizona and then included Las Vegas. And if we can put up the graphic, you can use the QR code on the screen to go to the UU Church of Phoenix webpage and learn more details and register. Registration is open now through September 30th. The idea to do a program for Arizona and Las Vegas UUs arose out of our Baja 4 congregations. Reverend Bethany, Reverend Tina, Reverend Inga, Jamili Omar, and Stacy Sosa, our religious coordinator, conceived of an idea, and then I later joined them after our installation of shared ministry. And by the way, on September 21st, Jamili is going to be ordained. And we are all, and I see some heads nodding, wonderful. We are all invited to join the church, the UU Church of Tucson on 22nd Street for that celebration. Now, as you can see, here in the southern part of the state, we affectionately call the program UUAF, or Unitarian Universalists All in Faith. However, those of you who are savvy in texting, you know that AF has, well, another meaning. It's an abbreviation. It's an amplifier that means very or extremely. As in this curriculum is Unitarian Universalists AF. And I'm sorry, I just can't bring myself to say it. I know. There's I even have it written here in the script, but the closest I'm going to get to say is F-bomb. Okay, so for those of you who are disappointed, I apologize. It is always curious to me what I'm willing to say in the church house and what I'm not willing to say, but I'm indebted to my elders for sharing with me language that is profound and words that are profane, and the wisdom to know the difference. Beyond an easy amusement at UUAF, and maybe trying to appear hip and happening, I've realized that implying this language names something very significant about the program. You see, finding meaning isn't just from profound sources. We also find meaning in the profane. Dr. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychologist and Holocaust survivor, believed and taught that human beings are above all meaning makers. He wrote, "Life is not primarily a quest for pleasure, as Freud believed, or a quest for power, as Alder taught, but a quest for meaning." He lived through 4 Nazi concentration camps, and then wrote about what he suffered there, acknowledging that all of what he experienced influenced his beliefs, brought him meaning. According to Dr. Frankl, meaning arises then in 3 areas: in finding purpose within our daily work. It arises among all of our loving relations. And it arises from the courage to face suffering, all that suffering that comes beyond us. Out of the very horror that human beings can inflict upon one another, meaning can arise. Please understand, though, it does not have to. There is nothing wrong with you. It is not a failure of character to endure suffering as suffering and to find no meaning in it. That's very human as well. But if Dr. Frankl's life and teachings are an example, then even in the most effed up situations, one can find meaning. And hence, Unitarian Universalists, all in faith, UUAF. It's an opportunity for each of us to practice our secular faith tradition with Unitarian Universalists, youth and young adults from 12 congregations in Arizona, including Las Vegas. It is our opportunity to come together broadly and name and share what is meaningful to each and to all. And at this moment in time, it feels necessary. It feels necessary when the public voice of white Christian nationalism is distorting the meaning of democracy, is spreading conspiracy theories, and encouraging violence. We need to gather and find meaning together. It is our opportunity also to address all the recent changes in the covenant of our Association of Congregations. Those changes which have challenged us to reflect on the meaning of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist, our 7 principles, and our newly adopted shared values. UUAF is your opportunity to name what is meaningful to you, what arises out of the profane and the profound, the sacred and the mundane, and then, among that great diversity, share it with others in our secular faith tradition. And who knows, perhaps together we find even more meaning to respond to the changes in our faith tradition, meaning to respond to the rhetoric of violence and hate that is growing in our world. We together can make meaning. We can create it for beyond us, for ourselves, for the very purpose of our lives. This is not a survey course of all Unitarian Universalist theology, so don't come expecting that. And nor would I caution that you come seeking the opportunity to tell everybody else how wrong they are and how right you are. To borrow from what Maria has spoken this morning, we are better together. We are stronger together when we learn and make meaning together. This is what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. This is what it means to be UUAF. And so may we be so bold to claim it, to live our faith out loud, to name what is meaningful in each of our own lives, and then to discover what is meaningful together so that we can act. And I offer you this closing as I have been taught. May it be so. Aho, blessed be. Amen. Because we choose it to be.
Because we've been talking so much about the history of UU Church, I thought it only correct that we end this service with a couple of great ones from our own Jim Scott. I'd like to invite you to rise as you see fit, and let's sing number 1054 in Singing the Journey, or as we lovingly call it, the Teal Hymnal, Let This Be a House of Peace.
And humanity of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house house, a haven for the healing, an arrow for question and all inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred difference here shall not divide us. Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace. Let them in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, a house of our creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace.
Let this be our house of peace.
Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, our trove of ancient story and cradle of our tender dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
On your way to fellowship and refreshments following the service, you'll find our gratitude bowl and basket. The bowl is for your financial support of our congregation, and the basket is for our monthly justice partner. Our partner for September is Interfaith Community Services, or ICS. Mission of ICS is to provide pathways leading to more stable and self-sufficient lives. At its inception, in 1985, ICS served several hundred people a year. Since then, community need has grown profoundly, and ICS has expanded staff, volunteers, and services to meet increasing needs. ICS now serves more than 60,000 people each year. From a nutritious meal to job counseling that helps an out-of-work breadwinner regain sustainable employment, to rides to the doctor's office, to assistance with mail, bills, or small home repairs for clients who can no longer see or achieve mobility, ICS meets essential needs in very practical ways. All of your generous gifts to MBUU and ICS are deeply appreciated. Last year, MBUU was a founding member of Multi-Faith for Pride. UUs, Lutherans, Methodists, and Jews joined together to parade with pride. This year, on Friday, September 27th, we will be joined by more faiths, nearly doubling the number of congregations and organizations who will parade with us. All are invited to the Pride Shabbat at the Tucson Holocaust Museum at 5:30 p.m. Then at 6:30, we begin our street partying with pizza and song. At 7:30, the parade begins and we take our pride to the streets of Tucson's downtown. Ask Reverend Matthew, Lee, or Robin Crary about how much fun they had last year. The Baja Four, our United Unitarian Universalist congregations here in southern Arizona, joined together to host a table at the Tucson Pride Fest at Reed Park on Saturday, September 28th. We will be promoting Our Whole Lives, OWL program. This is a unique curriculum addressing age-appropriate, fact-based sex and sexuality. The Baja Four shares it with our broader community, educating people of all ages. The Side with Love's first ever climate justice revival is coming. We have signed on as a sponsoring congregation and will be bringing several days of programming to MVUU at the end of September and beginning of October. The Climate Revival seeks to renew our passion for environmental justice as an intersection of social justice concerns. Next Sunday, September 8th, after the service, Vince will be offering an introduction and overview of the program that we will be offering. Vince back there, yeah, he'll be here next week doing that. Thanks to Tay, the announcements are posted in the Oasis room on a large screen so you can view them as you socialize.
I feel like I should sneak in here while they're moving around and remind you that Labor Day is Monday, and that also means that the first choir rehearsal of the season is this Wednesday at 6:30 right here. Wednesday evening, 6:30. See y'all here.
To release the frame, I'll be reading The Work We Share by Reverend Krista Tavis. It is our work, sacred with each other in covenant, that creates and sustains this beloved community. We extinguish this chalice, but its light lives on in the directions that we have chosen together today. The light of this faith lives on in us together, in our hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits. Amen, and blessed be.
And I can think of no better amen to that, but Jim Scott's incredible Gather the Spirit, number 347 in the gray hymnals. Once again, you're always welcome to grab one off the shelf back there. Please rise as you see fit, and let's sing.